Hey everybody. It ain't fair, y'all. This is tight ketovorian here, but it's just not fair. Yesterday we fighting pollen. I'm fighting pollen right now inside of my garage. I came out this morning, I had my mask on because this pollen was kicking my butt. Then it started raining. I said, okay, the pollen should have died down. They was like, no, you big dummy. This not raining in this garage. This garage is covered in pollen, and I'm telling you, it got me again. Today I was working on my carburetor on my push lawnmower. That took long enough. I'll just say I overhauled a whole push lawnmower. Never done that before, and I still haven't tried to give it a crank. Uh, to be honest, that kind of scares the bejesus out of me. The worst can happen. It could be a leak and it could explode. But maybe that's not the case. So now, what I want to do before I take myself to bed, I'm working on an herb garden. Yeah. Fresh herbs, you know what I'm saying? I got some green stuff, of course. I got some cilantro, rosemary, basil, and thyme. And then it'll be time. I got some stuff growing over here. Got stuff. Time to get out there in the garden. I'll show y'all my garden one day. But yeah, today was pretty good. I got up to about 30 carbs yesterday by the time I had dinner. I don't know. I think it came from the nuts. And today I haven't had any peanut butter because it's a system thing. Let's say it retards the digestive process, and as I've been backing my way into more peanut butter, things have slowed to a grinding halt. And that's the only culprit I can think of. Excuse me. I hope I'm not getting a cold. But it's probably the pollen in this garage. So, doing pretty good today. I did have a chuck eye steak. And I had a pork steak for dinner. Chuck eye steak earlier. Some nuts. I'm trying some nuts instead of peanut butter. Peanut butter is just so good and tasty. So good and tasty. But it's the only thing I got that's like a treat. But anyway, still listening to the book Keto Code. No more today. And my head is just full of all kind of fluid. I can't take any more information today. I did watch an interview with a Frank Moore on the Black Carnivore station channel. She was interviewing, I think his name is Frank Moore. He was a professional football player at one time. He had ballooned up to 374 pounds. And just like me, he talked about how he yo-yoed up and down. He was doing 100-pound yo-yos. He even had the lap band. Interesting story, but he just talked about if your mind ain't right, it ain't gonna work. I didn't even know that people with gastric bypasses, and at one time I didn't know. I know now. This stuff just don't work for people. And the band can still be in there. The body is amazing. You can't fool that body. You can't fool it. You gotta feed that body and feed the body right. So I am enjoying this protein thing, this low carb living, this ketovore lifestyle. Like I said, I was at 30 yesterday, but you know what? I was at 30, but I did take off. I have some dietary fiber that consisted mostly of avocado. So I know it was 6 for that. So I think the net was 20. So that's why I get a little confused. But the walnuts and the almonds I had yesterday did drive me up into the 30s. MCT oil arrived today. So I got some pure MCT oil. Dr. Gundry said we're supposed to be having that. So, but I still can't see what's the difference in between having, a tablespoon and a half of coconut oil versus 3/4 tablespoon of MCT oil, because 54% of coconut oil is MCT. But I'm not a scientist. I just read what they tell me on the internet. So anyway, hopefully I can get some results there. Anything we can do to get to the ketosis, and like I said, my clothes are feeling good. I looked at the scale and I was like, you liar. And I have a theory. We all know muscle weighs more than fat. So what if I lost a lot of fat, but I just didn't lose that many pounds because fat was light anyway? You ever seen that big? It was like a bunch of programs. I know Dr. Phil had it on. I know Dr. Oz had it on his show, and I don't like either one of those shows. I just probably watched a total of 20 total since they've been on. But when I called him, it was Dr. Oz. It was usually a subject that was near and dear to me. But I remember him talking about somebody being on and say, this represents 10 pounds of fat. And the thing was huge. It was big, like 2 footballs tied together. So I was thinking, like, maybe I have lost a lot of fat. Hopefully my body is burning fat. But 3 pounds of fat on my big old body, that would explain the looseness in my clothing. Because you don't want to lose muscle. And I feel, my glucose measurements in the morning tell me I'm on the right track. I'm on a decent track at least. So I just, who knows if you're doing the right thing, unless you got the money to have a totally blind study of thousands of people. But individually for me, I think I'm doing the right thing. I had my 2 ounces of broccoli today, and my son did some with mushrooms. He made some kind of a gravy from the grease and add some seasonings to the mushrooms. And now the mushrooms, Dr. Gundry says mushrooms do something to feed our mitochondria, so whatever that makes ketosis run faster, more efficient. So I'm with it. Bring on the mushrooms. Yeah, I can't say this is right for everybody, but for me and most of the people I know, yeah. Because I know, a lot of us got big at McDonald's and Burger King and chicken coops and on chicken fingers and chicken finger sandwiches, especially the ones Dairy Queen back in the 90s. Man, they had the best chicken finger sandwich in the world. But yeah, no more of that. So I wish you all the best on this Friday night. Getting your carbs as close to zero as you wish them to be. Keep going. If you make a mistake, just keep going. Y'all have a good evening.